Alright guys, what I want to do in this video is go over some of the reports that you may go, just kind of introduce them. I'm not going to go into detail about them. This video is not about one particular team, even though I show one here. So this may be your team and it's probably not, but the reports and what information in them is going to be very similar. What type of analysis you get out of the report should be very similar, not the same answers. So what you do is once you get in here, you go into reports. You can start in industry reports or debrief reports. Probably the most important, and it is, the report that you will use to analyze your results and help you make decisions going forward is the fast track report. This report you need, and to do well, you've got to get where you can analyze this report, know each section in it, and be able to start making decisions off that. The other reports are numbers that is come out of the fast track report, and then CAPSIM has just put together these reports to kind of present it in a different way to maybe help you out a little bit. Alright, so everything's based off this fast track report, and I don't have a video on it when I do the round by round debrief where I go only through the fast track report and kind of show you that. So I'll go into that in more detail in another video. Alright, the annual reports is just like if you've done anything with finance or investing or anything like that, you get an annual report from the company. That's what this is. It's our annual report. And you're going to get an annual report for each round. And what it's going to go down through here is it's going to go down through each one of your financial statements. It's going to give some explanations over here so you kind of know what you're looking at. And then it's going to do some things for you, like on the income statement. It's going to common size, and this is a very normal and the best way to analyze an income statement is what they call common sizing it. Alright, and what they do is they take each line item and divide it by sales, and so everything is a percentage of your sales, because it's hard for me to compare my company to somebody else's that's twice as much as me, but my direct labor should make up about the same percentage of my sales as their direct labor. And so you can come here and say, okay, my direct labor is 28%. Now you can go to the competitions on the fast track report and look at theirs and do a common size of them and see. And you don't have to analyze everybody. Alright, if you're in the middle of the pack, if you're third and there's somebody last, you don't probably need to really look at them as much. You need to look at the people you need to pass in first and second. Alright, if you're in last, then you probably need to look at everybody because you got to make your way back. And so if this number, if yours is 28 and everybody else's is 20%, then you've got an issue. And so therefore I've got to get my labor down. Alright, if everybody else is 30%, then I'm good. I've got good labor. Let's not worry about it right now. There's probably other things we got to worry about. So this is really what you call in finance, we call ratio analysis. And so you use this report to give you indications on what areas are not as good as others, and then you got to make a determination, is it something that we should deal with. If yours is at 28 and everybody else is at 26%, you may say, you know, based on our strategy, we're not going to automate as much so that we can be more flexible and change our R&D quicker and cheaper than the other ones. So therefore, we expect our direct labor to be a little bit higher, and so that's okay. Alright, so just because the number is different doesn't mean it's bad. You need to be able to answer the question, my number's different, and why? And sometimes it's because we're not doing a very good job. Sometimes it's a strategic decision for that. So go down through all these financial reports, annual reports on here, and that will help you out to understand kind of where your company's at and give you some explanations, and so you learn a little bit more about general business concepts and not just how to do well in this game. Alright, let's go back to our industry reports. Ethics reports, we don't do any ethics cases or scenarios in here, so that one's no big deal. And then we got our financial summaries report, which is just going to be basically the same thing as the annual reports, except it's just going to make it presented in a way that's not as many numbers flying around, so it looks a lot simpler, but it's the same information. And this is the same information that you get off the Fast Track report. So the annual reports and the financial summaries basically come through the Fast Track reports. Anything that I show you, you can find on the Fast Track report. Alright, and then we go to Debrief. Now some of these I think are pretty good, and some's really good and some's not so good. One that I don't think's real good for you is this, what they call the Analyst Report. I'm going to show it to you, but I haven't found it to be something that I would use when I did the simulation, trying to learn it and playing it against other students and things, that I ever really use this that much. But you may. One of the things that's good about it is what it does. You can do it by round, and it will. If you get a full circle, that means it's good. If you got a half, it may be good or may not. But you kind of got to have an idea. Again, it's all relative on how you compare to other companies. But this still gives us a good idea of where we're going. All right, so our profits and so our margins need to come up some. Our working capital needs to come up. Our market share is not very good. Customer satisfaction is awful. Okay, and so those type of things. So it does give a real quick some major things that we should be looking at. One thing that it does do is, I don't understand. What do you mean customer satisfaction? Well, I'll come down here, I click on customer satisfaction and say show point analysis. And it's going to come down here and talk about why my customer satisfaction wasn't very good and what you can do to help get over it. Okay, help to improve it on here. That's what I do like about this report. You can see what areas is not good in 10, and now these are some of these areas, but if you get these areas up, then your balance scorecard will take care of itself usually. Alright, you get these areas up, get these areas doing well, your balance scorecard will take care of itself. So you get a real quick snapshot. You can get an easy analysis to read through on how I improved that area. Alright, so that's the Analyst Report. The Foundation Debrief rubric, I really like this one. Now here's the key to it. So I would recommend that you download this. I know it's 19 or it's long pages, 26 pages. I hate for you to be in college and have to read 26 pages, but sometimes we have to do things we don't like. Alright, and so this is going to go down through each one of the areas that's being measured that's important to your company. Again, just like with the analyst reports, you take care of these areas, the balance scorecard will take care of itself. You will be a good company. And so this is going to explain each one of these areas to you on what they are. Then once you kind of understand what, and I just closed out of CAPSIM. I'm going to pause it and I'll be right back. Alright, sorry about that. And then so once you kind of understand what is in this rubric report, then you can look at the rubric. They're going to have them by round, so you can kind of get trend analysis, which is very important. You need to understand your trends, whether they're positive or not. Now, and then this is going to come up, and it's going to have different areas. How's my contribution margin and profitability? Right. Return on sales, just profitability. This company here, and you need to look at yours, everybody's going to be the same, is doing pretty good. Alright, their stock price contribution margins is a 2, which is satisfactory, and they're excellent in their earnings per share and return on sales. Okay, plant utilization, their asset utilization is pretty good. They got to work on their sales to current assets. Again, you can go to that key, and it's going to tell you what this sales to current assets is. Alright. I promise you, if you go down through these reports, you're going to understand general business and what some of the important things are in business. It's not about just learning about CAPSIM. Alright, these are some major things that businesses need to look at to do well in their own industry. Okay, so that's this report. Okay, the SIM results to date is okay. I mean, I don't like it as well as I do the analyst report. I like the Analyst Report better because it gives you that explanation on each one of the major areas. But again, it gives you a really quick overview of how you compare to other teams. That's kind of the strength of this report. And so I can look in here, and what they've done is they took the profits off the Fast Track report, and so you can see this pretty easily on the Fast Track report. And these are rounded so much that it looks like the Erie, Ferris, and Andrews all earned $4. It's really $4 million. But if you go in there, there are some separation between those three. But you kind of get a quick overview of where we're at. Get a quick overview of where the market share, where everybody stands on market share. Market share didn't change a whole lot. Everybody's kind of pretty even, which is normal if everybody's making good products to stay kind of even. Now, so on the SIMS to results, you can see kind of where your company stands with the other companies in a real quick fashion. Ethics Debrief, again, I wouldn't look at that. Balance Scorecard, I've got its own video for that. The Balance Scorecard Top 10 is going to be a scorecard to kind of show where you may stand at compared to other teams. So it's nothing for the class, so I wouldn't worry about it. Round analysis. This one again is a good way for you to get, and I like this one pretty good. One, because you can kind of compare yourself. Again, if you're looking at these areas, and it's not the same areas as the Analyst Report or the Debrief Roof, but some of them are. There's some overlap there. Kind of gives you an indication of really quick how do I stand up to other teams. All right, and so we see here that Andrews is really standing out really quick. That Andrews is standing out over the other teams on their margin. All right, and then you can come down here and say, why did I get the stars that I got? And it's going to give you not just generic, this is what profits is, but it's going to talk about your company specifically, where you stood at, some analysis, and what you can maybe do a little bit in that analysis. So that's one reason I like this. It gets a little bit more specific to your team. And then our final score relative is basically taking each one of these. Again, this is another sheet to help you quickly compare yourself. Now you're going to notice a lot of these has got overlap. So you may not look at all of these. You'll find which ones are your favorites. You may look at like the Analyst Report the first week to kind of help you learn more about each of these areas and what I can do to change them. But once you kind of get it, you'll be able to see this on the Fast Track report without having to open up another one. All right. But this one is, this kind of assumes that all these areas are weighted about equally, which they're not in the balance scorecard. But it gives you a good overview. If your score is a 12 and somebody else is 7.8, then you know you're doing pretty good on my cumulative profits. My return on sales is an important one. So here Andrews is getting a 12. Return on sales for Baldwin, I'm a 5.4. So if I'm a Baldwin, return on sales 2.4, return on sales 4.8, return on sales 9.4 for this team, and then 11.7. So if I'm Baldwin or I'm Chester or Digby, then my return on sales is something I need to look at. Now, the reason I pick return on sales because it could be low and you're okay. All right? Let's say that, and I don't know this because I hadn't looked at the reports, but let's say that Andrews did not spend a lot of money on their marketing. And Baldwin spent a lot of money on marketing, trying to get that awareness up, the accessibility up. Baldwin's profits are going to be down because they spent a lot more money on marketing. What they're betting on is those marketing dollars spent is going to help in round 2, 3, and 4. All right, and so just because your number's low doesn't mean that you're bad. One thing about financial analysis or looking at reports, they give you indication of where you're different, and you need to be able to justify or explain that. Was it because we chose to be different at this time, we spent more money on marketing, or is it because we got an issue? All right, hope this helps in all the reports, kind of going through, but if you have any questions for me on any of the reports or any of your indications, then let me know.